expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged, and you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in. It crawls its way under your skin. Just got foul from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Ah, yes, and we are tired of the same old shit. Hey, 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 it's the Grounds coming to you about 23 minutes late, but when you don't have internet, hard to run an internet radio station. Of course, the Grounds, the most unique show here, 21.6 The Net, where we invite you to be part of the show. Just click that link that's right there underneath my face. And you can join me right here live this morning as we talk about debt forgiveness. Yep, I had to go there. Debt forgiveness, it's crazy right now. I love to hear what everybody has to say about the new debt forgiveness that's out there. Let's talk, because I think it's cool. But, of course, The Grounds brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Reese's Barkery and Pautique. Of course, the owner of Reese's Barkery and Pautique, he's out in Vegas at a big dog food show. Who knew that there was a dog food show? So, if you want to jump on, give me your thoughts, you want to be part of this show, click right there. Put that in your URL, come on in, because this morning, a lot of people seem to be upset. Hey, Tim, good morning. A lot of people seem to be upset about, some college debt forgiveness that is happening here in these here United States of America. Looks like the President of the United States has said that if you don't make $150,000, they're just going to forgive $10,000 worth of your student debt. And if you are a couple and you make less than $250,000, they'll forgive that. I don't know if it's per person or if it's just per household. But if you had a Pell Grant and you qualify, they'll forgive up to $20,000 of your debt. Now, here's the interesting thing to me. Yes, Derek, I said it, and good morning. The interesting thing to me is a Pell Grant is free money. It's a grant. You don't have to pay that back. So why do they get if there's a Pell Grant, you think, well, you already got free money. So maybe you should, at that point, only have $10,000. And the people who didn't get the free money maybe then should be able to write off or be forgiven $20,000. Anywho, maybe it's an income-based thing, but just because I was broke, now I've got my college education, now perhaps I'm making better money than when I was broke. So to me, the thought process there might be a little bit odd or different, but I know that this has got a lot of people, upset. And I've seen a lot of things out on social media that are saying, hey, I just finished paying off my student loan. Do I get a $10,000? No, you don't have the debt anymore. It's not part of the game. That's like saying, hey, I just got done playing football. Why can't I play football with the baseball team? Different game. It's just it's not there. I hear people now. Listen, I hear people my age in their 50s who are just livid about this free money that the government's giving out. Right? I'll use air quotes there, free money. But the bottom line is, hey, I went to school back in the 80s and the 90s, and I had acquired student debt, and I had to pay that debt off. And man, it's not fair. Why did I have to pay it off? And now my kids don't. It's not fair. I worked hard. I had to pay all that debt back. That's the rules of the game. Listen, My grandmother didn't have a microwave for most of her life, so making dinner was took a long time. And now, right, we've got a microwave. You can basically get your chicken nuggets heated up in a minute and a half, and you've got a meal, right? So times change, things are different. Shayna, good morning. Glad to have you with us. Shayna says, just when we thought we had run out of ways to divide and enrage people, why isn't the punishment for the financial rape brought to the profiting perpetrators? Bizarre. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, that, well, and again, life is not a fairy tale. I I get a bit uh, not enraged, not mad, but for whatever reason, why anyone thinks that life is fair, you quit reading fairy tales, quit watching Shrek. Everybody doesn't live happily ever after, and even in those stories, the only people who live happily ever after are the main characters, right? Lord Farquaad didn't live happily after ever after, right? Did his family complain about him being eaten by a dragon? Yeah. Why are we getting so upset? Life isn't fair. I know a lot of people who make who make a lot more money than I do with a lot less work. That's not fair, right? It's to me, life isn't fair, right? And yes, I know I'm not naive. Yes, I know that you have to. It doesn't disappear, right? It's not an etch a sketch. We can't just shake it and it disappears. This 300 billion or trillion or however much it is in student debt has to be taken care of by somebody, and it will. And we may see it in inflation. We may see it in other things. Tim says, my concern is it's not enough. We will be paying extra taxes to pay off only a portion of debt and still leave people paying these high interest rates and the rest of their debt for years to come. Okay, so let's talk about that just for a moment. Here's the deal: many of these secondary educations, universities out there have huge trust funds and things. When I say huge, I mean millions and millions of dollars. Some of the bigger colleges and universities are going to maybe even have billions of dollars in these trust funds that they don't get taxed on. Um, here's here's the way I look at it. If I own a university, hey, guess what? We can just raise our prices now. The cost of tuition just went up. Well, you can't do that. Yeah, we can. You know why? Debt's going to be forgiven. It doesn't matter. We'll make our money, and debt will be forgiven. So guess what? Tuition just went up. So now everybody who's getting a student loan is now is now going to have more debt, right? Um, and Tim says, I didn't go to college. I may not be smart enough to make the comments, though. So now with this debt forgiveness, yes, it is crazy. Now, meanwhile, the professors continue now, instead of being paid $150,000 to be a professor at a major university or university, now I can get that raised with my tenure up to maybe $200,000 because we just raised tuition. So it's really a kind of a snowball effect the way I see it, because if everything's going to be forgiven, raise it up. Why not? Why not? Shana says the housing crisis was initially blamed on the inept borrowers. This smacks of the same. The fix makes 0 sense. Maybe to me, but I'm on that with a lot lately. And yeah, how many, and here's what I would say. If I took out a student loan, and I went to school for 1 and 3/4 years, um, and then I left school. That school did not give me an education, but they did take my loan money. Now, if I flunk out, I didn't flunk out, I left. But if I flunk out, or I decide it's not for me and I don't get that degree, that money needs to be returned to the government. That loan should be returned, a portion of it anyway. I was there, but it was part of this, and people will say, well, you were there for that 1 and 3/4, so okay, so let's just take I wasn't there for a full 2 years, so that second year, the institution should have to pay back some of that loan that I gave them, because I didn't use it all for what it was meant to be used for. So maybe there's something there. What's the flunk out rate? How many people have these student loans, tens of thousands of dollars, that never got their degree, that flunked out, that decided, I'm going to go into the military, or decided that, I guess it's time for us to get married and have children, and are still strapped with all this debt, for what? For nothing. And at the same time, this 19-year-old kid goes and gets a $100,000 student loan, and I've got Sally over here, who is an entrepreneur but can't get a loan to start her business, so that she can be, successful and follow her dreams. The powers that be are spending in a pattern very similar to someone who anticipates. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why not? And you know what? All those loans were protected in the bankruptcy court too, because they're federal loans. So you can file bankruptcy, you still have all of your student debt. So there's a weird thing. Now, I'm a parent. I co-signed for my my child, and for that student loan. I make more than $150,000. My child doesn't. What happens? My kid has to continually pay for that because I make more money. I don't. What happens there? I don't know. Beth, good morning. Glad to have you with us. Of course, Giles out in Vegas at a dog food show. So no Giles this morning, but this has been out there on a lot of people's social media, and it was just something I wanted to see what you all thought about this morning. I'm not trying to rile you up a little bit, maybe, but I wanted to see what you thought about this debt forgiveness. Beth says, I think that maybe if our country had a surplus and we wanted to do something positive with the money, then that would be a good thing. We have a major deficit, so why are we offering to pay debt when we don't have this money? Yep. It's a good question, and we can get away with it because perhaps a lot of the people who are being forgiven this debt don't quite understand that either, and they just look at it and go, woohoo! Well, somebody's got to pay for it, and it doesn't just disappear. Like I said, it's not an Etch-a-Sketch. You can't do that, and it just disappears. And yeah, I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. So, Tim says, won't these people be paying that $10,000 back from their own taxes anyways, and maybe more over the years to come? They'll pay their share and someone else's too over them. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're paying for it. You stop making a monthly payment, right? And when asked who has to pay for it, there's not a lot of good answers coming out of the people who have decided to do this. However, it is something that was a promise. It was a campaign promise. So there's a politician following up with their campaign promise. That's positive. yeah, you're going to see inflation. You're going to see higher taxes. You're going to see a lot of different things. Um, but with I can buy a vehicle, and if there's a recall on that vehicle, the company has to foot the bill for it. Okay. So all of these colleges, as I said, have trust funds and excess money sitting around that they don't get taxed on. So the big thing to me is I gave that money to the college. That college should have to pay some of that back. I, I'm just saying. Now, again, I'm a banker. That's not how it works. You borrowed the money, you bought a car, you wrecked the car, your insurance doesn't recoup the entire amount. You still owe me what's left on the loan. I get how that works, but if we're going to forgive, if we're going to forgive debt, then maybe what we have to do is start looking at and saying maybe the universities here in the United States are too expensive to go to. And maybe we have to take a look at that, and we should lower tuition. We should make tuition uh, not free, but we should lower tuition. Now, at the same time, we have the same issues with athletes, college athletes. And then you sell. I'm a quarterback for you, and you sell a jersey with number 16 on that says Jones on the back, and people buy because they like the way that I play, but it all goes to your coffers. I get none as the athlete. It makes me feel good, but because I'm not a professional athlete, I can't make money according to the NCAA. So guess what happens? You're using me, and the university's making a bunch of money off of me. There's issues there as well. And they're also making money off of all the television contracts and things of that nature to watch me play football as well. So there's if you haven't figured out, to me, that secondary education here in the United States is a bit of a maybe magic trick, the art of illusion, perhaps, misdirection, perhaps. Won't say that it's a scam because people do get education. But it is perhaps something that goes, well, gee, that's good for them, but not necessarily for everybody else. So, Keith, good morning. Of course, Keith Wilmoth, one of the Dream Home Experts, and I believe that y'all have a show tonight at 8 p.m. live from the Quiet Cool Studios. You're going to want to tune in and catch the Dream Home Experts. But hey, look at the glasses. Good morning, sir. You know what? You got to always represent the company, and so that's where you get the 216 Net branded glasses. Always fun. Shayna says, this seems so irrational, it feels like a sideshow distraction. Epstein's girl is doing 20 years for supplying girls for nobody, apparently. A enormous amount of problems affecting our democracy need money and brain power before this BS. And again, it's all timing. Yes, the dude's dead. She's in jail 20 years for trafficking people, and she wasn't an Uber driver. And we have the black book with all the names. Why hasn't that? What? No, we would have rather watched Johnny Depp and the pooping girl, and every minute of that. But with the Ghislaine Maxwell case, we here in America only got 3 chalk drawings of that. And guess what? Today, the FBI is sending out the redacted, you know, uh, stuff for the Mar-a-Lago, and it's all going to be blacked out. It's ridiculous. Anyway, you're right. There's enormous amount of problems affecting, and it's just people mad at each other for everything. Listen, I'm not mad at all. with this debt forgiveness. I've got a daughter who's got some. Good for her. Hallelujah, right? Uh, and do I understand that I've got to pay for it? I do. Yeah, I do. But now that's the rule of this game, right? That's how the game is played. And again, life isn't fair. Things aren't fair. And and if my daughter has it easier, or they forgive the debt, great. I paid my student debt. Okay, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but that was the name of the game. I had to, right? I had to, and that's okay. That is absolutely perfect. And that because that was the rules. That was the game. Those are rules I had to play by for that game. And now, if somebody comes and changed the rules and says, "Oh, hey, you know what? First of all, you don't have to pay on this for the past 2.5 years or 2 years," and I feel good about that. But at the same time, that interest just keeps going, right? So the debt has gotten bigger. So now, erasing that $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan for people can be life changing. And I want you to think about that. The way that it's set up, you can go out and buy a $20,000 car. You'll have it paid off in 4 or 5 years. The way that that $20,000 student loan is, you'll have it paid off in 10, 15. It's just a nag. And the United States government continues to receive the interest on that. And here's the deal. And everybody listening would say this. You're walking along and you see a bundle of hundreds and it's $10,000 worth. You're going to pick it up. You're not going to look at it and go, yeah, right? And then if you're a decent human being, you're going to take that to the police and say, hey, I found this $10,000. And they'll hold it. And if nobody claims it and whatever, it ends up being yours. Okay? So this is the equivalent of the government dropping $10,000, and people are they're picking it up and they're gonna take care of it. It can be life changing for people. It's cringy when people gift you with someone else's money. It is. Let me ask you a question. We'll take that same car payment, $20,000 car, and you get a letter in the mail saying, listen, your debt is forgiven. Here's the title back to your car. And you call the bank and you say, wait, there must be a mistake, right? Because I only made one payment on this, or I maybe didn't even make a payment on this, and yet you're telling me my debt is forgiven. Yes, it is. It's not a mistake. And somebody, out of the goodness of their heart, wanted to pay it forward, and they gift you someone else's money. Okay, now Shayna, I know what you'll say is they did that out of the goodness of their heart, and the money that's being gifted now isn't necessarily given out of the goodness of people's hearts. It's being forcefully taken, perhaps, in taxes and things like that. But the truth is, we would feel really good if we were in that situation, okay? And you would say, yeah, wow, I've got this brand new car. I didn't make a payment on it. Somebody just paid it off. Now, boy, that extra $500 a month is going to make me feel real good, and it could change my life. Right? The unfortunate thing is we have so many people who are financially illiterate that they would go out then and buy another brand new car because they're, Why not have two? Or I'd go out and buy a boat, or I would do anything. I would get back into debt, and that's what a lot of people do. Beth says, I feel like the tuition debt forgiveness program is just a way to buy votes before an election. Pause right there. Yes. Timing is everything, and it. I don't think, and somebody may know better than I do. I don't think that perhaps the president of the United States can just wave this wand. I think it has to be passed. So it might get through the Senate, but then it's got to go and get through the House. And right now it's saying, see, it's stuck here. You've got to put our people in so it gets unstuck. I get it. Yeah, the timing is impeccable, right? My girls both have student debt. One with 200,000, of which her father and I paid about 100,000. She'll be making the income to pay it back, but I don't think it's right that it gets forgiven. I feel like it devalues her education, of which she works so hard for. Not many people were willing to do all this to get the degree, with knowing they are taking a gamble that they will get the degree to be able to, and you ran out of characters. So there's a second part of that, Beth. And that's the way that is the way that you raised your girls, absolutely. And a good education and having them understand what's happening and how it's happening, like with my daughter. I've told her, she said, hey, and I go, okay. So now, basically, what's happening is, let's say that your landlord comes to you and says, you don't have to pay rent anymore. I'm going to raise everybody else's rent in your apartment complex so that it covers you. Sound good? Oh, yeah, it sounds great. Okay. Now let's say that it's your neighbor, and the landlord goes to your neighbor and says, hey, I'm not going to charge you rent, but I'm going to charge everybody else rent to cover you. We're going to increase that rent. And now you get a note from your landlord saying that your rent has gone up by 10, 20, 25%. How do you feel? And in there, it doesn't say that it's increasing to cover the rent of your neighbor. What it's saying is it's just increasing. Yet you're in the hallway talking to your neighbor in your apartment complex, and your neighbor's like, man, I can't believe it. I ain't paying rent. It's great. They forgive my rent. Wait, what? Yeah, he said he'd take it out of everybody else's rent. Wait a minute, what? So you're living free, and I've got to pay for mine? What? That's the way that it works. It's just the way it is. Now, I hope it doesn't devalue her education, which she worked so hard for. I hope that she understands that the greatness that she has and the greatness that she can become because of that education will outweigh, this. And yeah, I mean, you guys have already paid a huge amount, and unfortunately, 10% of that, even though it would be nice, doesn't start to feel good either. But that's why I say the rules of the game were, here's what the rules of the game are. And what we have to do then is we have to abide by the rules of the game, and it is what it is, right? And like I said, back in the 80s and 90s, these were the rules of the game. I abided by the rules of the game, and I paid it back, right? You take out a loan, you pay it back. That's what I did. They're changing the rules, and that's okay. To me, that's okay. Ted, good morning. How are you, brother? Glad to have you with us. Alex, good morning. Alex says, I don't want to hear a single business owner who got PPP loan money with automatic forgiveness complain about this student loan thing. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Do I agree with the student loan forgiveness thing? Nope. But did I get a free PPP loan money? Yep. So I shouldn't bitch. Um, yeah, Ted saw the note. Yep. Sorry, Thursdays don't get in till late. Yeah, you're right, and there you go. It was great, right? That PPP money was there during that pandemic to help, and then all of a sudden we're like, yep, okay, no more. You don't have to pay that back because and whoops, now there's inflation. Whoops, now there's things, but we don't complain about those business owners. And there are business owners that I've seen who are complaining about it. Who, yes, much like you, did get that free PPP money. Now, again, that's the rules of the game. I'm not upset if you're abiding by the rules of the game. I didn't apply for the PPP. Being a business owner, I didn't apply for the PPP. Number one, because I didn't want to have to pay it back. And now, when everything was forgiven, I said, damn, I should have gone for that. Okay? Now, Murphy's Law tells me, and you can all thank me out there for the PPP forgiveness, because it's my luck. Had I taken it, it wouldn't have been forgiven. So, because I didn't play that game, you're welcome. You're all welcome, right? That's how powerful I am. That's just the nature of things. Because had I taken it out, guess what? I'd be paying it back. So there's choices. And again, do I go, hey, Alex, it's not fair that you got the PPP money and you didn't have to pay it back. That's part. I can't. Life isn't fair. You don't live happily ever after. And again, my grandmother didn't have a microwave oven. She couldn't make chicken nuggets in a minute and a half. She had to butcher the chicken. She had to cook the chicken. She had to chop it up and she'd spend all day making dinner because that's how the game was played then. As time goes on, Derek Bear Facts on Guns, great show last night. Again, right? He drives an electric car. It's not fair that he doesn't have to pay $4 for a gallon of gas. It's just not fair. Well, guess what, Alex? You're from California. In 2035, there aren't going to be any more gas cars in California. I'll have to be electric. Well, that's not fair because I have a gas car. So that means I either got to rent a car or an electric scooter or something if I go on vacation to California in 2035. I don't think that's right. It's the rules of the game, right? Alex says we saw businesses that got hundreds of thousands of free dollars and they are bitching. I just shake my head, right? Yeah, I'm buying a Segway, right? Hey, once you get used to those, they're kind of like part of your body. All right, Shayna says, I think a sense of fairness is universal in all of us, and we can sense when it's not. We're being taxed past the need to run the business side of the country. Did you see the documentary Enron, Smartest Guys in the Room? The gist was if you give everyone a cut, it makes them part of the crime and helps eliminate you as a whistleblower. Think about all the spending in the. Oh yeah. You know. Also, you know, if you see a crime, if you see a murder, and you don't do anything, or you're an accessory to the murder, right? So Uvalde are all those police officers who stood by and did nothing, accessories to the murder. Right? Anyway, right? Yes. But it does. We keep building debt. We keep building debt. We keep building debt. We keep building debt as a country. And how do you get out of $3 trillion, $6 trillion, $8 trillion in debt? Here's an idea. The United States government, go to whoever we owe this money to and ask them to forgive that. And then maybe we don't have to forgive that, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I say you always got to brand yourself, right? You're a marketer, Alex. You got to go with the branded 216 the net. You know, you got to brand it up. Absolutely. Hashtag carpet matches the drapes. Yes. Never mind. Hey, Don, good morning. I would not compare getting PPP money if people accepting them would have when they were told they had to shut down their business versus debt being transferred to people who did not take out the debt. All right, we only have a few more minutes. We'll run a little late because well, you can't run an internet radio station without internet, so we had to deal with Comcast a little bit. But thanks for getting us back up and running. If people accepting them when they were told they had to shut down their business versus debt being transferred to people who did not take out the debt. So what you're saying is the PPP money. I don't know who said they had to shut down their business. I don't know that the government came in and said you can't run your marketing business anymore. You're shutting down. Okay, well I'm going to take out the PPP. I'm not following your train of thought there, Don, or maybe I'm putting commas where I shouldn't. Here's the deal. They took out the people took out the PPP money to help their business survive. If their business didn't survive and they don't have to pay this back, it was forgiven. When I go to school, I can go to school for 2 years and not graduate, but I didn't get my student loans forgiven, right? Alex says that doesn't equate, Don. You're telling a person right now who is working for Starbucks should be okay with a tree company getting $150,000 of free money. Is happy about that. Don says for a business that could not make a living when shutdowns started. Oh, so what you're saying is when the lockdowns happened, and if you weren't a company, a grocery store or whatever, right? Is that what you're saying? So Alex says when the PPP loan was out there, they told it was able to be forgiven. Then they got to do it and again forgiven. I got it twice, right? Well, yeah, but folks, again, who's paying for those PPP loans that were forgiven? And a lot of us out here are business owners or business managers. So why we understand business, so it makes sense. I'm not upset at Prime Media Consulting because their PPP loan was forgiven, right? And they used it to survive. If you give out free money, people are going to take it. We are. And everyone who is a taxpayer is paying. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not I'm telling you, it's not an Etch-a-Sketch. This debt didn't go away, right? And here's the bottom line, is we're all paying for it. Now, you see inflation. You see your taxes are going to go. Guess why there's 87,000 new IRS agents coming in? Listen, folks, it's the name of the game. Am I happy that they are doing that? Yes. Now, everyone who is a taxpayer is paying for this. How much more in taxes are your taxes going to go up? Okay. And do you take advantage of every tax loophole that's out there for you? And I'm going to guess that the answer is yes. Great. Now, if that's the case, then stop taking advantage of the loopholes that are out there and start paying the full amount. I make loans for a living, and you can't believe how many business owners have never made an income in the past 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Yet they have a nice house, nice car, vacation home, things like that. Now, somebody not making any money reporting that, well, is that fair? I don't know. And Shanna says the PPP was was an emergency, which made it a little more understandable. Yes, because we understand business, we can justify anything and feel good about that. Absolutely. Absolutely can. Don says people got a few $1,000s during the lockdowns. Now I think it costs families about $500 more every month due to inflation. No really free money. And as that free money was being spent and given out, we were saying that at the time too. It's not free. You got to pay for it someplace. You're going to get it on the back end. There is no such thing. And people who understand that there's no such thing as free money do understand that, right? Reparations, not fair. Would I blame some for taking advantage? No, right? Well, I agree with you, Shayna. Alex says, I'm not happy with the student loan forgiveness. It's an emergency for people. Those student loans are a high percentage of their income. Yeah, and Nate says nothing's ever free in life. It even costs money to die. Absolutely. And Alex says, but I can't be a hypocrite and bitch about something I was able to apply for as a business owner. There you go. Listen. The idea of the debt forgiveness, and listen to what I'm saying. And I'm thinking of I'm thinking of my daughter at this time as Beth was talking about hers. I'm okay with it. Can I help her out? Yep. Would I help her out if she ever? Yeah, that's what parents do. You always want what you want your kids to have a better life. You want your kids to do better. Now again, we here in America, in our politics, in our government, tend to address the symptoms and not the root cause of things, and that therein lies an issue there. So, is there an issue? Yes. What's the issue? And the issue isn't that these kids have loans. The issue is that perhaps universities are charging way too much for a mediocre to under, below average education, because they know that these kids will go $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in debt because since they were little, we said, hey, it's real important for you to go to college. You need to go to college, 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 college. You don't. Tim Santos didn't go to college. He's a very, very successful businessman. I went for a few years to play basketball. When I was done playing basketball, I was done. And I make it in the world today, right? So truly, I'm okay with it. And do I have to pay for it? Yep. I do, and I'm okay for it. You live in the United States, you got to pay taxes, right? That's a given. You don't have to. You'll end up in jail, but that's fine. But like I say, I'm okay with it. If my taxes go up a little bit, well, guess what? That tells me and my personality. I got to grind a little bit more. I got to go out and make a little bit more. That's like somebody saying, oh, I don't want to make 100,000 because then I have to pay more taxes. That's a broke mentality, right? I want to win. And because my heart is the way that I am, I want to help everybody out. So guess what? I'm not upset with it. Is it BS? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But you know what? Me complaining about it, posting it on social media, knocking down people who are excited about it, that ain't going to solve it either, right? Ted says, if this country is going to get out of debt, the social programs that give money to those in need have to be looked at and rewritten to expect those that can go to work to get funding. There should be a requirement to maintain a part-time job when people can work. And the PPP loans, instead of forgiving student loans and PPP loans, should be paid back over a longer period of time instead. I mean, you could, everybody takes out a 30-year mortgage, and the longest, the average is 5 to 7 years that they pay on a mortgage. Do you expect this forgiveness plan will reduce or increase the cost of college? Oh, it's absolutely going to increase the cost of college. Why? Because it's free now. We can charge more now because why? The government's going to take care of it. Any smart university board is going to say that. Ha ha! Listen, doesn't matter. We can raise tuition now because we'll get our government money and it'll get forgiven. So now the cost of secondary education into the universities is going to increase. Trust me on this. It will. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't you? They're not non for profits. These big major universities, they profit, baby. Trust me, it's going up. Harvard having a $40 billion war chest. Yeah. To get a teaching degree there is stupid. I'll stay at Ferris State University when it was 12,000 a year. Some people are just branded institutions. Oh, by the way, the war chest is untaxable. Yeah, I talked about that. A lot of the big major universities have these trust funds that are non-taxable. They've got money that could forgive this $300 billion. They choose to sit on it. And it's the same piece of paper at the end of the day. People want the branding. People want the status, but it doesn't equate to more jobs by your $30,000 a year institution piece of paper. Yep. And I don't care where you went to school, University of Illinois, MCC, doesn't matter. I don't care. All right. You're right. Tuition will go up. Another reason this is such a bad idea. Yeah, but they don't see it. They don't see it. Say Ferris. Listen, folks, sorry for jumping on late. We ran a little bit over, but come back at 9 for Bridging Civil Tension. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Scott will be back next week. He's out in Vegas at a dog food, emporium. I don't know, big old dog food convention for of course, our sponsor, Reese's, Barkery, and Pautique. So, listen, come back at 9. We've got Bridging Civil Tension with Phil Wallace. At 11, we've got Living Low Sodium with Mary Shep. At 1, we've got The Neighborhood Pulse with Kevin Callback. At 3, we've got In the Know with Steph and Joe. And tonight at 8 o'clock, live from the Quiet Cool Studios, we've got the Dream Home Experts. Absolutely going to be good stuff. And, look at Ted stopped by. Look at that right there. There it is. Legal Legacy Home and Business right there. You can contact them, 815-836-6747. They kind of do it all. Full tree service, landscaping, power washing, vending, gumball machine rental, maintenance, sales, marketing, branding, floor cleaning, you name it. They do it. These guys are great. Sorry I missed you, Ted. Come back at 9. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit this morning and allowing me to talk about debt forgiveness. We love you all. Thanks for getting caught in the net. Oh! Remember, folks, be good, but more importantly, be good to each other. And remember, if it's happily ever after for one person, somebody got the raw end of the deal.